Call this meeting to order. With item 1, item 2, please join me in Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item 3, is there any public comment? Seeing none, we'll go on to item 4, verification posting of the agenda.
The agenda was posted on April 3rd at all the locations stated on the agenda in accordance with NRS 241 and Churchill County Code.
Thank you, Diane. Item 5, approval of the agenda as submitted or revised.
I move to approve the agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Unanimous. Item 6, verification and notification of all landowners in accordance with NRS and the Churchill County Consolidated Development Code.
All landowners required to be notified have been made.
Thank you, Diane. Item 7, consideration of approval of the minutes of the meeting held on March 12th, 2025, public hearing.
Tammy Edgman for the record. I move to approve item number 7, approval of minutes from a meeting held March 12th, 2025.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. All right. Moving on to item 8, old business. Consideration of possible action. Annual review of a special use permit previously granted to the Fernley Business Park LLC for rail-based services and industrial park expansion for Western Nevada Transload. The property is located at 17127 Inland Port Drive, assessor's parcel number 009-251-77 and 009-251-78 in the industrial zoning district. Is there anybody here to speak on their behalf? Please come up. Please state your name and address for the record, please.
I'm Bill Staub, the project manager for IRG for the Port of Nevada development, and this is my associate Tara Anderson, asset manager.
All right, Randy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Randy Hines, Churchill County Public Works Planning and Building. So again, this is a yearly review of their SUP that they received last year. After staff has visited the site, it appears that they've made significant progress through their conditions of approval. And I don't want to get into the list, but there's a few things that they're still waiting to do. One of them's their tree that has to go out front. The other one's the ADA parking spot out front, the modifications for the ADA bathroom, and then the landscaping along that berm that sits out front for the screening. So they have some plans to get three of those items done by June or July 1st. And then the trees, they just got to pick a tree and just get it planted. So with that, that's kind of where, the status sits today. So they're here to answer any questions you guys have.
Thank you, Randy. So I guess I'll start in front of everybody here. I do have a question of why the ADA has not been completed.
Okay. We want to do take the most efficient approach to the construction out there, and we have other flat work that we're contemplating in the next 60 days, and I want to do that flat work associated with the ADA parking at the same time. So it has been bid and it's been awarded. I'm just trying to do so that we don't have multiple mobilizations for the same type of construction.
Okay, because I know that, we're a year, and I don't know, maybe it was approved in a different SUP too on the ADA. It's something that's kind of a priority, especially where you're coming with another SUP application next month, maybe. Mm-hmm. So it's something that, I don't know, I feel that we need to kind of move along. If we think I mean, do you think it would be completed by June or just started in June?
No, it'll be completed in June, yes.
Okay. With that, I'll open it up to the board if they have any other questions.
I was just going to, Commissioner, I was just going to elaborate on that right now with the increase in construction costs, for us to have mobilized and poured concrete for just that ADA parking stall, not that we don't find it significant, it just, given the location and mobilization, it would have been much more costly versus we have some other concrete work that took longer to design, the full entirety of our gate complex out there. And so it took longer navigating those elements. And so we were trying to do them, we had hoped to do them both sooner, but the container yard gate complex and some of those components have taken longer than we had intended. So that's the reason for the delay. But I did want to clarify, we have the bathroom improvements and ADA compliance has been met. We do have some administrative permit application paperwork, but as far as the installation of the code-required elements to meet ADA standards in the restroom, those have been completed.
And the building permits have been issued for the ADA parking and the improvements in the bathroom, and it's just a matter now of scheduling the inspection for the bathroom.
All right, thank you, guys. And I'll open it up to the board if anybody has any questions, concerns.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, Mark Hyde for the record. Yeah, I feel the same way the chairman does, that we just don't want to get in a situation where we're kicking this can down the road, but it sounds like you have permits in place, that you're serious about getting this completed. Personally, I've been impressed with what you have done to this point. You know, you've met all the requirements in terms of the berm and the fencing. What plan have you presented for landscaping? Because that's another piece of this that needs to be completed within that year period of time. So
We have not finalized that. We have had discussions with staff about what would be acceptable and what's desirable to the local community and appropriate for that site. And so we've come up with a couple of ideas based off of some other examples set in the community, but we have not formalized that plan yet. This site, while we're very excited about the progress, the interest in the market is really leading to prove itself to be more than what we had really hoped. So we've been really trying to ramp up and get all of our operational pieces together. We're not intending to neglect any conditions, but with what's happened with the supply chain and construction costs and the location, we've got some state agency collaborations. And so there's just been a lot of moving parts while we're like building the plane while flying it and trying to satisfy what we're very excited about is the increase in rail customer interest in the site. And so we are pursuing these things in good faith. We're not trying to kick the can. That's certainly not our goal. But we do want to be efficient in the sequencing of how we install those improvements so that we're not economically hindering ourselves from being able to make sure that this site is successful and develops in the way we really hope the potential it has. So with that, in short, I don't have a landscape plan.
yeah, I
submitted just yet, so-
appreciate that, and I understand those series in construction. But my question then, follow-up question to the landscaping, is what is your projected time frame of having that completed?
I think it stands to reason that we could complete the landscaping within the next 90 days, assuming we get the blessing from staff that what the ideas that we've discussed meet what they had envisioned and satisfy what code requirements. But we're far enough along with the construction of the berm. The fencing installation has taken longer. Procurement, delivery, installation has taken longer than we had expected. So naturally, we weren't going to landscape while we're still navigating installing a pretty robust fence. So long as we don't experience any further delays with the installation of the fencing, I don't see why we couldn't tackle the landscaping within the next 90 days.
Dean Patterson, for the record, just to give a little detail to Mark on his question. I was out there with Bill Staub, I don't know, 2 to 4 weeks ago, I can't really remember, but we did talk about things like graveling the side of the berm, large boulders along the berm. Bill was thinking of some ideas such as using rail pieces as decorative items, doing something, assembling them in some interesting way and using rail pieces, maybe rail segments like railroad ties and the track, but all of that's still kind of up in the air. Those were just kind of off the cuff ideas.
Mr. Chairman, Jeff Goings for the record, and I really don't have any questions of staff towards the end, but I do want to commend you, same as Mark does, because when this came before us, there were some real heavy questions about how this was going to fit site-wise and everything else. And I do have to say that berm and fence have met exactly what I think the intent was of this board from the very get-go. It's done a very good job of screening. It looks clean. It's tidy, and I think once you get your landscaping in, it's going to be a perfect fit for out there. I'm very, very, very happy with that portion from what I can see. My question to staff is, does staff feel like we're far enough along that this could be something that planning department could now follow up on, or do you think we need to have another annual review on this?
This is something that I think we can do administratively. Again, there's if the bathroom's done, we just got to get building out there for inspect. The concrete should take a day to pour, and then we can go inspect it, right? It's just little things to tidy up. The big thing is the landscape. So, they did propose it to be in by July 1st. So, they do have another SUP coming down the line like has been stated. So, ideally we'd like to have this stuff done prior to that SUP being approved, which you guys will probably hear in a month. So, but again, I think we can do this administratively. I don't think we need to come back. And if we do need to come back, then.
Well, we can always come back.
Yeah, and I think with that being stated,
Yeah.
I think that's what we'll do, is we can leave it up to the staff unless it's not met, and then it comes back to
Then
us.
it'll come back, correct.
Yeah. And that's how the recommendation would be. Is there any public comment? All right, seeing none.
Mr. Chair, Joe Frey for the record. I move to no longer require an annual review of this application.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. And thank you very much. And so hopefully we don't see you guys. Well, not on this. Yeah. You will see us. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So moving on to item 9, new business. Let's see, consideration of possible action on a parcel map application filed by Linda L. Marins. Property is located at 4275 Testone Road, assessor's parcel number 006-791-03 in the A10 zoning district. The applicant proposes to divide the parcel into 2 parcels. Is there anybody here to speak on this behalf? Could you please state your name and address for the record, please?
David Crook with Loomis and Associates.
All right.
I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
All right. And then Dean, are you gonna?
Yes, thank you. Dean Patterson for the record. So this is an application for a land division, 2 parcels, as you noted. The existing parcel currently has 2 homes placed on it. One of these homes was placed under the current zoning code through a permit for a second permanent dwelling. At that time, it also complied with the water dedication requirements, and so there's 1 credit that can apply to this land division. The proposed parcel map will result in 2 lots of equal size, separating the 2 existing homes onto each new lot. So both new lots will already be developed, and little change will occur as a result of the lot split. The staff report reviewed the criteria for land divisions and found that The only issue of note is that the new lots will be served by existing bridges over a canal, and they're at the north edge and the south edge of the property. Excuse me. The code requires that existing bridges must be investigated to confirm that they are adequate for fire truck crossings to the satisfaction of the fire marshal. The north bridge is newer and clearly meets the county standards for fire truck accessibility. It's unclear that the south bridge meets the county standards for strength and width. A condition of approval is recommended to address the adequacy of the bridge. In addition, the south bridge is on the adjacent property, which we've learned through the course of this review. So that matter will need to be resolved and is also a recommended condition. Other than that, other than the fire marshal's bridge issues, there were no comments received. Staff recommends approval with conditions provided in the staff report.
Thank you, Dean. Do you have anything to add? So have you done any physical inspections, or is there any plan on the bridge?
We haven't done that yet, but it will be done before we can record, so.
Okay. And that's all I have. I'll open it up to the board.
Quick question for staff. So the existing bridge was, do we know the age of that bridge? The bridge on the south portion there?
Sure. As I mentioned, the north bridge is in good condition.
Right.
It looks very new. The south bridge has been built, sometime recently, but I'm not saying within even the last 10 years, but it's not like 50, 75
Okay.
years old.
So
it
it's-
is concrete, but it is thinner, has a thinner deck, for example, and I think it's narrower. So that's kind of what it comes down to. The owner and the surveyor may know some more about the age of the bridge.
I believe that the bridge is around 20 years old.
Okay. So I would assume that if it's a 20-year-old bridge, that we had to meet some certain codes at that time for that bridge to be able to support fire apparatus and TCID's requirements as well. So, okay, yeah. I'm just for knowledge, just trying to figure out here.
Anybody else have anything?
Tammy Hitchman for the record. So the south bridge that we're discussing at this point is being used for legal access at this time?
Yes, that is correct.
Dean Patterson for the record. Just to clarify, the issue is that using the bridge is on somebody else's property, and so you'd normally have a easement or something, and I think the applicant is working on that now.
Yes, that bridge has been historically used for that parcel since the early 50s. The bridge was reconstructed plus or minus 20 years ago when the property changed hands.
So Tammy Hitchman for the record, will you have an easement granted to you prior to the recording of the map?
We will either have to create another access or have an easement created over that parcel. Yes.
Anybody else? Yeah. So is there any public comment on this? Seeing none, can I get a motion?
I'll start a motion. Tammy Hitchman for the record. Based on the information provided in this application and the staff report and heard tonight, I move that the criteria found in CCC 16.04.040C and CCC 16.04.050A have been met for the parcel map application, and therefore recommend that the Board of County Commissioners approve the parcel map pursuant to all conditions.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, thank you. This has been passed. So any zone change map, ordinance, or PUD application is always forwarded to the Board of County Commissioners with the Planning Commission's recommendation for approval. Thank you. All right, moving on, new business, item B, consideration of possible action, an application for an abandonment of a 30-foot road easement filed by Keith and Jeanette Smith, Joseph Richard Morton, and Travis and Roxanne White. The easement is located on the east property line of assessor parcel number 006-293-09 and 006-293-12, as shown on the parcel map document number 278512. The owners are requesting an abandonment of this road easement. Is there anybody here to talk on this? Please state your name and address for the record, please. Yeah, there's one up there, yeah. Press the button, so there you go.
Keith Schmidt, 4495 Candy Lane.
Janet Schmidt, same.
Mark Joseph Morton, 5141 Candy Lane.
Thank you very much. And then Dean?
Thank you, Dean Patterson, Public Works and Planning, for the record. So the applicants, the Schmidts, are requesting to abandon the road easement running along their west property line. The easement lies on the adjacent west neighbor's property. Might be useful to illustrate it on the screen with the map. There you go. And it's the hatched area along the side. The Schmidt's property is at the northeast corner off of this map property. The easement lies on the neighbor's property, but it creates setback requirements on the applicant's property that encumber a large portion of their property. So an important note here is that whenever a road easement is created, it automatically comes with road setbacks so that homes aren't placed right next to where cars are going to be driving. The road easement of concern was created by Serial Map Project, which is the diagram showing on the screen. It was created by, and it also created the Morton and White parcels. These landowners have the easement on their property and are parties to the application, but they did not know about it and do not want the easement either. Other adjacent landowners further south on the east and west sides of this line have also consented to the abandonment as provided in the submittal. Examining the map creating the easement shows a 30-foot half road easement that was provided around the entire property. So that's the east, which is the one we're talking about, the south, the west, and the north property line. North is Candy Lane. In addition, it created, I think it's Eugene Way, yeah, through the middle of the property. It's the curved line, if I remember right. The Schmidts can correct me if I'm wrong. So it's unclear why such extensive road easements were applied, but the perimeter easement is inadequate for a full road. In addition, the map applied the easement adjacent to the Schmidt's property without informing them and without considering the setback consequences on their property. This is something that should normally be considered when you're doing a map and creating road easements. The Schmidt's property is long and narrow. Can you show the air photo, please? And so it's just at the top right edge there. You can see it's the long, skinny lot. It and the home existed at the time of the adjacent land division. There are already small structures that are inside the easement and possibly even the home. Abandoning the easement will remove the road setback encumbrance on the applicant's property and also remove the easement and setback burden from the properties that the easement lies on. Note that during pre-application conversations with the applicant, the extent of the abandonment was purposefully limited to not affect the cross easements. If you can show the diagram again. Thank you. You'll see that the abandoned portion, being the hatched area, does not extend all the way to the north and south property lines, but stops at those easements. So those cross easements will remain. The staff report reviews the abandonment criteria, which is mainly a determination that the public will not be materially injured. NRS and county code have extensive notice requirements. The fire marshal and public works director had no objections. The road supervisor normally does not support abandoning road easements, as you've heard in previous requests, but in this case has determined that the odd application of road easements in the previous serial parcel map results in road easements that have little public benefit. The county surveyor reviewed the proposal and approved the abandonment with minor text corrections, and utility and video service providers were notified as required, and all have replied. All that have replied have found that the request was acceptable. Just to note, NV Energy's reply was late and should probably be in your handout tonight, but it's just like the others. They found it acceptable. No other comments were received. Staff recommends approval with a single condition of approval.
Thank you, Dean. So, is there anything you guys would like to add?
Sorry.
We weren't even aware of it until after we applied for a building permit and it was denied. So we've been there longer than the division took place around that property. And we were never notified of that happening. And our house is probably a foot on the setback.
Oh, no, I see that, yeah, on the map, so, yeah. So I don't have anything to add. I see what you guys are trying to do, and I'm in complete agreement, so I'll open it up to the board if anybody has any comments.
Just one quick question. It looks to me like, so 293-12, that access comes in off of what they're calling Eugene, is that correct? Okay. Yeah, okay.
All those
So-
properties in that division have
It almost looks to
Eugene
me
Way.
like, yeah, it almost looks to me like they were planning on subdividing that other
And they
parcel
did.
there, and that's probably why that got put in there in the first place, but now that can't be divided anymore anyway, so.
Yeah.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Yeah, every property in that division has got access by Eugene Way, Candy Lane, and Keys Way.
Tammy Hitchman for the record. On the property, when you have the lines on the APN parcel there, it's really hard to see, but is there already a fence there, or is there a road that has
Yes,
been?
there is a fence line right along that easement, all the way from Candy Lane down to where the south easement comes in off of Keys Way.
So nobody is using it currently for a
There-
road, nor do
there's-
they even know it's there?
We've been there over 30 years, and it's never been a road.
And never been
They
used.
never used it.
Wonderful. Just wanted to get it on record.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Is there any public comment? Seeing none, can I please get a motion?
Mr. Chair, Joe Frey for the record. Based on the information provided in the application, in the staff report, and heard tonight, I move to find that the criteria found in CCC 16.08.050 have been met, and therefore recommend that the Board of County Commissioners approve the request to abandon an unused road easement running along the east sides of Parcel 4 of Parcel Map Document Number 278512, which APN 006-293-09, and Parcel 7 of Parcel Map Document Number 297687, APN 006-293-12. This approval is subject to the conditions as listed in the staff report.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All right, you have been approved. This will be forwarded to the Board of County Commissioners with the Planning Commission's recommendation for approval. Thank you, guys. Moving on to item 10, update related to code and master plan changes.
You got it, Joe,
Is
you
that
want me to?
Joe, Randy?
Yeah, Randy Hines for the record. So basically, we have a workshop in 2 weeks that we're going to present some items in there regarding the industrial use table, some design standards that we'd like to implement or re-implement back into, what do you want to call it, document, right? Standard details for Churchill County, more current standard details. And possibly SUP and TUP discussion. So we've been working over the last few weeks on that presentation for you guys. It'll be a joint presentation with the board as well, so we'll kind of have everybody in-house to have this discussion. So, and then whatever we get, kind of response out of that workshop will kind of get us in the direction on which way we want to go from there. So look forward to that. Excuse me? Is it
I believe
6, Diane?
6:30? Diane?
What time's our workshop?
6:30 is normally when the workshops have been, yes.
Yeah, 6:30.
That's a lot better.
Does that work for
You
you?
didn't get the email, Mark?
I just keep pushing on the 7 o'clock meeting.
Yeah. So, all right, thank you, guys. And that's April 22nd, correct, Diane?
Yes, it's April 22nd. And it's the board and the planning commission together.
Thank you, Diane. And so we'll move on to item 11, the consent agenda. Can I get a motion? Oh, there's no items on the consent agenda, so we'll move on to item 12. Is there any public comment? Seeing none, this meeting's adjourned.